All right, I have a really good one for you guys today. I'm here with my buddy Connor.
Yep.
He has, I don't know, you can correct me, but I think he has the coolest Xterra in the world.
I like to agree with that statement.
Exactly, right? Tell us a little bit about you. Tell us about your Instagram, where people can find you.
Sure.
And, you know, just basics on how long you've had it, and we'll go from there.
All right, sounds good. So this is a 2011 Nissan Xterra. The trim level is like Pro 4X, so for all the Toyota guys, it'd be like a TRD Pro essentially. So comes with a rear factory locker, better gearing, a couple other off-road features that doesn't come in other ones. Obviously, it is not stock anymore. We've got 37-inch mud grapplers from Nitto on there right now. They are actually studded for the wintertime. But about me, so I started off-roading when I lived in Virginia. This is the first vehicle I bought when I graduated from college. I wanted to buy a 4Runner, I wanted to buy a Jeep. Just wasn't in the funds at the time, and this was significantly cheaper. So this is how I got here. And then
Nice.
I started doing Instagram just as a way to document my adventures and as a portfolio kind of thing. And then it's kind of grown into something a little bit more than that now.
It's taken off a little bit.
It has taken off a little bit, and
That's
it's
awesome.
given me a lot of great opportunities in this community. And this is ultimately why I moved out here to Utah is for all the off-roading and the scene and that kind of thing. So yeah, you can find me on Instagram at conheckoffroad. It's just the first part of my first name, my first part of my last name smushed together with an off-road attached to the back. And then on YouTube, you can find me with that same handle as well.
Yeah, awesome. Isn't it somewhere on your car? Let's just
It is.
show it to them real
Back
quick.
here, got it branded there with some cool font. The guys over at Envision Automotive, they do a lot of supercar runs, wraps and stuff. The guy that designed the Cybertruck wrap and the Trumborghini wrap designed this wrap for me. So
Yeah,
I
that's
feel
really
like I
cool.
have a little bit of a connection there. So I
Yeah.
thought that was pretty cool.
Nice. So tell us a little bit about the front end. There
Okay.
is a ton of work up here.
Yeah. So cosmetically, we've got the Hefty Fabworks front bumper. This is their new tubular design. They do make stuff for Toyotas as well. For all you guys out there that are looking for some armor. Chris Hefty is the guy that owns the company. It's a small business based in Colorado, and their build quality on their stuff is absolutely insane. I actually run all Hefty armor besides my sliders. So bumper in the front, skid plates, and rear bumper, all Hefty Fabworks. Absolutely pumped with this bumper. This has been a huge upgrade from what I had previously. As far as lighting goes, we've got Baja designs all the way around. Up here we've got some LP6s, we've got some S2s, some Squadrons, and then the Squadron SAEs, which is like their DOT approved fog light is what we run. And then as far as winch goes, we've got our Factor 55 Ultra Hook paired with a Born off-road winch. This is a brand new winch. I have not had a chance to use it, but they're based out of Pennsylvania.
You're too good at wheeling, dude. You don't ever need it.
I know. Well, I'm hoping to test it out tomorrow a little bit. Hopefully either I get stuck or somebody else gets stuck and we can put it to the use and really put it through its paces. So pretty pumped about that. They sent that out to me, and I told them I would let them know how it does. So they do a bunch of recovery gear. They have winches, soft shackles, kinetic ropes, traction boards, pretty much any kind of recovery gear you might think of, and they have it for a pretty good price. I think they list this 12,000-pound winch for like $899. When you compare some of the other 12,000-pound winches on the market, that's a pretty good deal. So
For
yeah.
sure.
Now, as far as suspension goes, we got some brand new Fox 2.5 Elite suspension, fully adjustable with remote reservoirs in the front and the rear. Yeah, so I've had this on for maybe a month now, and we've definitely tested it out properly. We've gotten the truck off the ground, all 4 tires, a couple times. Yeah, it was gnarly, and even like with all the weight on there, man, it's still like the landing wasn't super hard either, so it
Yeah.
absorbed it pretty well. I think my front end is a little bit soft still, and it was a little bit bouncy, but other than that, it was really smooth. So
What wheels do you have on there? Did you mention that?
so these are Black Rhino Raids. They're a 17-inch wheel, and then they're wrapped with the Nitto Mud Grappler in a 37. And the reason I went with the Mud Grappler for the wintertime is just how wide it is. So it says it's a 13.5 wide, but true measurements closer to like 14.5, 15 inches wide, fully inflated.
Huh.
So when you really air it down, it gets pretty wide, so it works really well in the snow. And
Yeah,
then,
those wheels on the 37s, they look really small. I honestly thought that you were going to say they were 16s, but I think
Yeah.
it's just the design maybe.
it is, I think it is the designs, because a lot of times, like in photos, like you see like the ring here, it almost disappears because everyone focuses on like the center area.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, but I really like this wheel. I've ran this wheel. I've had this wheel for like 3 or 4 years, and if you look at a couple of the wheels on the other side, some of the finish is coming off just because I really wheel the crap out of it. But this side, the bronze still looks pretty good.
Well, about a month ago, I remember I watched a video where you had it come off the bead.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that was, do you
Yeah.
plan maybe to go bead locks anytime soon?
Yeah, so I've been working on that in the background. I've actually got something, some wheels coming from Australia.
Ooh, stay tuned, guys.
It's really weird for this truck. Like, the Titan has a really common bolt pattern, but the Xterra has a really odd bolt pattern. So like method race wheels, Raceline race wheels, any of the ones that you could think of, they don't make wheels in my bolt pattern. So there's very select companies that actually make a wheel for me. So
I guess that's the biggest problem of being a unicorn in the
it
off-road
is.
community.
It really is. And for the longest time, like when I first started, there was hardly anything out there for like how to modify an Xterra, what you can do to it. So a lot of it for me was trial and error, and that's kind of why I started YouTube. Is like, there's people out there that have Xterras, but there's no content out there like, how did I wire up my light bar for my Nissan Xterra? So I'll film it and put it on the internet, and some people appreciate that, and it's kind of grown into more of a hobby to kind of do that kind of thing. And now, like, when I first started doing YouTube, it was a lot of like how-to or installing things and that kind of thing. But I'm trying to get more into, filming the adventures and the excursions that we go on, and just kind of showcasing the beauty of the nature that we have at our fingertips here. So
Totally.
yeah.
That's awesome. So tell me a little bit about the protection you have on your rig, because I have seen some of the stuff you do, and
Yeah.
you need to protect your vehicle. You don't
For
want
sure.
bent doors. You don't want to
Absolutely.
ruin your motor. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so like I said, front bumpers, Hetty Fabworks, rear bumpers, Hetty Fabworks. Skid plates are Hetty Fabworks. They're full steel skid plates. And then our sliders are actually white knuckle off-road sliders. They don't have a super huge online presence. And I was doing some research when I went to buy them, and a lot of people that had them said really good things and never had an issue with them. And I've definitely slammed the truck on some rocks with those sliders, and they haven't budged an inch. So
Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
they look really good too.
hmm
I like those.
yeah, then they're nice and tucked up high, which is what I wanted. Still enough room where you can use it as a side step to get up to the roof or whatever. But yeah, it's right in line with the frame rails, so that don't have to worry about hitting your door or anything like that. So
Anything else on the side or the front you want to go over? Should we head over to the back?
I think the biggest thing that sets this truck apart is it's engine swapped.
Right.
So we actually blew the V6 up on a trip down to St. George. I was going out to the Grand Canyon, and well, kind of before that. So I went to the Overland Expo in Colorado, not this past summer, but the previous summer, and I didn't realize I had an oil leak, and I actually did the whole drive back with no oil in my engine. And as I was coming down Parley's Canyon from Park City, I just heard like a weird noise, and I was like, oh, that's not very good. So, but it was still running, it was still driving, so I continued to drive it, and then I was like, I'm gonna go do another road trip. After I found the oil leak and I had put new oil in it, refixed where the oil leak was and everything, and then I was driving it, but it was still, I don't even know what actually the problem was, but I was driving it when I probably shouldn't have been driving it, and going up a hill down on 15 to getting into St. George, the engine just blew up.
Dang.
And it's gone. It was 2 a.m. by the way
Oh
when that
my
happened,
gosh.
and I was by myself again. Thankfully, Remy was already in St. George. She had left before I did, so I called her and she came and towed me into town. But yeah, so we engine swapped it. Instead of putting a V6 back in, we took a Titan engine from Nissan Titan and dropped that in there. It's insane how easy that swap is to do. The engine mounts are the exact same. The transmission mounts are the exact same. All you have to do is just modify the ECU and the engine harness, and you're good to go.
Everyone wants to see it, man. Do you want to pop the hood?
Sure, let's pop it.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that you did a swap, and I was shocked.
Yeah. So it's a 5.6 liter V8.
Look at that.
I
Fits
think
like a glove.
Brand new, I think it puts out close to 400 horse. It's got about 110,000 miles on it, so probably not quite 400 anymore. But I think it fits better in here than the V6. So the V6 intake manifold was like all over here, so you couldn't even access any of the coil packs or anything. This one fits a lot nicer. So.
No, it looks awesome, man.
Yeah. We did a lot of, we did a full rebuild. We did custom charge pipe, we did aftermarket exhaust. We actually have a axle dump exhaust, so it dumps like right at the rear door. It definitely is a little loud to drive on the road. It's actually like these tires are louder than the exhaust, which is pretty hard to imagine. But yeah, the mud grapplers are a really loud tire. But yeah, I usually just turn the radio up.
Yeah. Sweet, that's awesome. So look at this antenna. I don't think we went over that yet.
Yeah, so this is Midland Radios. I think you did a video with Dylan the other day, and I watched that, and he plugged the Midland. And so yeah, from here, my house, and to where Dylan lives down in American Fork, Lehigh area, we were able to talk back and forth on our radios, which is
crazy,
insane.
man.
Because there's a mountain in between, and you know, a bunch of stuff. So a bunch of interference stuff, but these radios are insane. So I had an older version with just like a normal little wire antenna, and I reached out to them. I was like, hey, I'd love to upgrade my system and do that kind of thing. And they were like, what do you want? I was like, okay, I want this.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, I do some work for them and some content creation for them. And yeah, their stuff is, I think, the best on the market as far as comms go, from my experience. So definitely, if you're looking for a radio, check them out.
I mean, that gives you some serious peace of mind when you're off-roading, especially if you solo stuff a lot like you do.
Yeah.
Just having something that can call for help, that's awesome.
Yeah. I really like the size of the antenna too, because it's actually a pretty good sight line. A lot of people I've seen like, oh, why do you put the antenna on your bumper? Doesn't that get in your vision or whatever? I was like, no, it actually helps, I feel like. Because it kind of, I can see it and I can see exactly where my bumper is. And then like as I'm going around turns and stuff, I can kind of have a better idea of where my front end actually is. So I like it.
Sweet.
So I've done some work to the rear end recently. Again, this is a Hefty Fabrics bumper. This bumper has been on here almost as long as I've had the truck, so it's definitely gotten its abuse to it. It does hold the 37 and holds the 38 in the summertime. We got our Max Tracks on here, and then this is the newest addition here. We've got our chainsaw mount here, because you know, out here in the mountains and the woods, you never know when you're going to come across a down tree, and you don't want that to ruin your day. So we added that. This is just a standard ATV mount. I got it off of Amazon, and we just bolted it straight to the swing gate, just some bracketry, and then I have a dry bag I'll put over it when it rains and snows and stuff like that. So
yeah, plus you're going somewhere tomorrow.
That's right. Yeah, so out here, my favorite Christmas movie is Christmas Vacation, and the first scene of that movie is when they go cut down the tree. So that has been a dream of mine to go do that as well. So we're going to group together tomorrow. We're going to go out and get some Christmas trees and have some fun in the snow and hopefully get a good one. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
I've been trying to plan it and pick out a good area to go to. So I think we've got something pretty epic, and I'm going to make a whole YouTube video out of it. So should be pretty cool.
Yeah, I'll plug his channel, and you guys can stay tuned for that. Subscribe and turn your notifications on so you don't miss it.
For sure, yeah. I'm not super consistent on YouTube, but when I do put one out there, I put a lot of effort into it, and I try to make sure it's really good. So if you do enjoy it, I do appreciate the thumbs ups and the likes and that kind of thing. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Cool. Let's see. So you're a high lift jack guy. Do you ever use bottle jack, or high lift is your main?
I do have this as my main off-road thing. I do have a bottle jack inside as well, just to have a redundancy to it. This, if I didn't have the high lift when I debeated that tire back in the summertime, I would have been screwed.
Yeah.
The bottle jack would not have been able to cut it. Mainly just because of how much clearance I have,
Right.
but also it was really off camber, and it was a little sketchy. But the high lift came through, and yeah. So I have been looking at other solutions. I know there's some hydraulic ones out there that are a little bit safer, and this one is by no means the easiest thing to work with. Like, I have to put WD-40 on it every time I want to go to lower it because the pieces stick together. But it does do what I need it to do, and yeah, thankfully I did have it that day, so I didn't have to go walk out miles of trail to get some cell service to call somebody. So
Right.
yeah.
So looking at the Xterra, it's in pristine condition until I see this one spot, man.
If you look, this piece fits perfectly right in here. So if you look at the way the swing gate closes, it's really just a pin, and it slides out pretty easily.
Right.
So I got a little froggy on a trail, and it popped out, and it went like this, and just put a dent right
Oh
into
my
it.
gosh.
And I was like, there's no point in fixing it. Like, there's
It'll
no
happen
reason,
again,
because it's going to
maybe.
happen again. And it's definitely a conversation starter.
Well,
But,
I'm glad you opened it, because I've seen some clips of inside your rig. You got some awesome interior mods.
yeah. So with the chainsaw in here, I found this out the other day. I can't open it with the chainsaw in
Oh,
the chainsaw
man.
mount.
There's
So I
always
just take it out
something.
real quick. What's great about this mount is it's just super easy to access the chainsaw, one-handed, and then I'll just stick it on the ground real quick. But yeah, inside we got I did some custom work. I had a Dometic fridge for the longest time, and I had to redesign the whole interior because of how big it was. I didn't realize how big of a fridge I had bought. But if you look at the platform, like, the fridge took up this whole piece, and we'll look into this the back doors up there. That platform is huge, and the fridge took up that entire spot. But we've since partnered up with IceCo, and they sent me this out, and I've been loving it. I put it on, and I've had it installed. It's been on the entire time. I never had it shut off on me. I did have some of that problem with the Dometic fridge. I don't know if that was just because of the size or power supply or whatever, but this has been on since I put it in there, and it's been really nice. I like the kind of stainless steel design to it, and it's a lot smaller of a profile.
It's so nice not have to deal with
It
ice.
is. It is so nice. Like,
I want to get one
it
of
is still a
those.
dual zone, so I can set one section to a freezer if I want to bring some ice cream. I don't usually do that in the wintertime, but ice cream in the summertime is definitely a must-have. And then we got the other section for the refrigerator, or I can set them both the freezer or both the refrigerator, whatever.
That's awesome.
That's what's great about these. And yeah, it just kind of slides out, and got these nice clips on there, and it actually soft closes, so you don't have to worry about slamming anything, which is nice.
Sweet. That looks really nice.
It is. I've been really happy with it. The build quality on this thing is so nice. Like I said, the stainless steel is really nice, and I have a shovel right here. It's been hitting the side of the refrigerator for the past week until I just fixed it the other day with some bungee cords. But yeah, it's a really solid unit, and they use really good compressors. So they say, like, they hardly ever have issues with the compressors going out. So
Nice.
pretty pumped about that. And then everything else inside wise is fully custom. So I ripped out the entire interior besides, like, the front two seats We built a custom platform. It extends all the way up to the rear seats, and then I'll show you Denali's area. But these are some IKEA drawers. I got them from IKEA because I tried to build my own drawers, and I just was not able to do it. I think my measurements were a little off or whatever, but we have all the camping gear in here, which is pretty nice. I just picked up some new kitchen bowls and stuff. I got these drawers really full.
Yeah, we got a big trip tomorrow.
Yeah.
Are you guys camping?
No, just a
No?
day trip.
Just a day trip.
I have to work on Monday morning, so I have to get back. But we got some new camp stuff. We do propane, jet boil stove. I'm actually going to be changing my whole camp setup again here soon. I've got a bunch of stuff in my house that I need to install.
Nice.
I've got a 400 amp hours of lithium that I'm going to be installing, which is enough to run like an induction stove. So
Sweet.
we're going to do that. Change this up a little bit more, but right now we've got, like, this is a blanket I put on the ground for Denali. It's a nice outdoor blanket.
This is Denali right here.
Oh yeah, she's out. She's hunting. She's a big hunter. She loves to hunt. But we keep all of our like camping gear or sleeping gear kind of like right there. And then yeah, I think that's pretty much it for back here. We've got some extra tools on this side. We've got a hatchet. We've got a snow shovel. We've got a inflate deflate kit from my friend Josh. He's got a little company called Mountain View Overland. He sent that out, and using that, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for that. Over here we've got this Pelican case. I use this for all my recovery gear. Pretty easy to access. Just holds everything in there.
Nice.
So, you don't want to be stuck and then have to open the tailgate or anything, and you know, especially if you get stuck in water, you don't want to open any doors. So, and then as far as rear lighting, we've got Baja Designs again. I just put these brand new guys on the other day, 2 S2s. Then we've got their RTL chase bar, which is pretty sweet. It does turn signals, reverse light, and brake lights, and that kind of thing, which is pretty sick.
Yeah. That looks really good.
Yeah, we can go on this side, I guess.
So what color was your rig before the wrap?
It's like a dark gray color.
Dark gray?
Yeah. I actually really like the color, but that's a really common color for Xterras. So I wanted to make it really kind of a uniqueness and kind of accentuate that. I love the new Broncos, and that Area 51 color that they have, that kind of like cobalt blue, kind of dark gray blue color, is kind of where I got the inspiration for the wrap on this. And I think it came out pretty well.
For sure.
And
yeah, it looks awesome.
on this side, we've got some tools and stuff, some camera gear, we've got torque wrenches, breaker bars, extra fluids, and then this is kind of everything that is running the truck right now as far as auxiliary. We've got just a jackery in here right now. It's worked pretty well. The only thing with the jackeries is they don't like extreme hot or extreme cold. So they'll keep discharging, they'll keep everything running, but they won't charge until I get into their happy temperatures. So when it's really cold out, I usually end up having the battery die on me, but I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet because of how cold it's been, but it's still been charging and keeping everything full.
Do you have solar panels on your tent?
Yeah, I've got about 350 watts of solar on the roof.
Nice.
With some flexible panels, so they're designed for like buses and stuff to fold, but they're really low profile, which is really nice. So,
can you stand on them?
Mm-hmm. Underneath, we've got some extra jackery that usually goes up in the tent with me when I'm sleeping. Got the bottle jack underneath there, and then that's kind of where all the new battery stuff is going to go. It's going to be under there eventually. And then the seat covers are nice because they have all these extra pockets in here, so I keep a bunch of tools and stuff. I've got angle grinder in there and some extra stuff as well. And then on the other side, I have like just extra dog stuff. So I've got Denali's little boots in there. I've got some poop bags, some collapsible bowls and stuff, which is nice because it just keeps things from getting tossed around and rattling around and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, dude, you are ready for the apocalypse.
The only problem with the Xterra, and my only gripe is the fuel economy. Especially with the V8, it just drinks fuel, man.
Oh, I'm sure.
And it's only a 21-gallon tank, so I can get when I'm driving highway, I can get about 230, 240 miles on a tank if I'm driving really conservatively. But like off-roading, like going fast and stuff like that, it just kind of, you can see the needle going down.
Oh, yeah.
I've been trying to work with some companies on developing like an auxiliary tank to kind of go where the old spare tire space used to be. Just a lot of conversations right now, nothing super in the works or anything like that. But that's kind of my next biggest thing that I would like to do, is going to add some more, so you don't have to be like range anxiety.
Yeah.
Like all the EV guys out there. So
Yeah.
but yeah, other than that, I love this truck. This truck has been really solid. Haven't had any problems with it really, besides stuff that I've done to it.
Right.
But yeah, let's go to the other side. I'll show you Denali's area.
Yeah.
And I've got some onboard water storage we can take a look at. So on this side, this is where Denali stays. So up here is this little dog bed that I've made. It attaches to the back of the seat, and then it's bolted to that box back there. So inside that box, it's actually right behind the drawers is 10 gallons of water storage, and then we have just a Dometic faucet there, which is really nice. And then
Yeah, that is nice.
underneath we've got, that's all Remy's recovery gear there, so I'm holding on to that for her right now. And then compressor, we've got tools underneath. And you can see this window is always down. You can see how dirty the door is.
Yeah.
So yeah, Denali is always sticking her head out. Whether it's raining, snowing, super dusty, she wants the window down, and if it's not down, she lets me know that she wants it down.
Yeah.
There's that, and then in the front we've got a lot of stuff going on up here. We've got a molly panel here, we've got some knives, we've got some pockets. Having a squeegee is like the biggest pro tip that I can offer, especially if your tires stick out past your windows. So you can squeegee your windows down if they get muddy. I learned that when I did a week-long trip up to Canada, and for sure, like I use it all the time. And then underneath the steering wheel, we've got our just gun mount there. This was really easy access there, which is pretty sweet. And then we've got our S-Pod for our lights here. I just added this scan gauge yesterday, or not yesterday, but like within the last week or so. It's really awesome. Like for someone that has an older car, it really gives you a lot more information about how your engine's doing than you would get otherwise. It also works as a scanner, so if you have an engine light pop on, you can check out what the code is, and you can clear it if you need to, and kind of diagnose it a little bit better. Then, and it's always plugged in, which is nice. So it can check out your fuel economy. I've been averaging, because I work in South Jordan, so back and forth, I average about 8 miles a gallon.
Oh, man.
So not super happy about that, but yeah, having the scan gauge there is really nice. And then we've got our InReach Garmin there, iPad mount. We've got our Midland radio box in there, and then all of that's mounted with RAM mounts. And the only thing that's mounted with a suction cup is the scan gauge. Everything is literally drilled right into the plastics. That's Remy. Remy's coming to hang out for a little bit, I guess.
Sweet.
She's got a pretty sweet Jeep.
All right, tell me a little bit about what you got up top.
All right, so as far as tent goes, we have a CVT mount hood. It's one of the original tent manufacturers that I found when I was first looking, and it's been a really solid unit. The only downside is the weight. It weighs about 210 pounds, give or take a few. So I am looking for a lighter solution. I've got some stuff in the works about getting a new tent up there. But overall, really, really happy with this. Never had any leaking with it. Not really any bad condensation with it. But yeah, it's a pretty solid tent. It does what I need it to do. Keeps me dry, keeps me safe at night. And yeah, pretty happy with that. Now, as far as awning goes, this is the Bush Company. It's a 270 awning, so it wraps all the way around to the rear. And they're a company based out of Australia. And the reason I went with this awning to begin with is because I didn't want an awning that had support poles that came down. I just thought that was clumsy, it didn't look super good, and it just adds to the setup and tear down time. So this awning is fully self-supporting, so it doesn't have any support poles. Because of that, it does have a little bit of weight to it. It weighs about 90-ish pounds, so it is heavy, but I was willing to add some of that extra weight to be able to have the self-supporting one. So when it's open, you can actually hang on the bars that stick out.
Dang.
And it'll stay up. And I've had this open in some pretty heavy winds, and I've never had an issue with it.
So one thing that I just saw is you have the ARB diff cover. Do you have any upgraded axle components, or?
We have just different gears in there. I haven't upgraded any of the actual shafts or anything. We did upgrade the front differential to a Titan diff. We added a front locker to that as well. But we're running the 410 gears. We did add the ARB cover for some extra protection. I think it's all supposed to help keep the gearbox a little bit cooler.
Yeah.
I think the material is a little bit more heat dissipating. Yeah, I've been really happy with that. I've definitely hit my diff on things, and it hasn't cracked or leaked on me or anything. So I think it's doing its job.
What's nice about those is I think that they're magnetic, right? So if you ever are doing service, then you can tell if something's seriously wrong.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of
pulls all the little shards out, which is nice. So
yeah. As far as steering goes, with the 37s, have you upgraded to the Titan steering box or steering rack?
So what's weird about the Nissans? Back in like the 60s time frame, I want to say, Nissan was having a really tough time. So they were really scrappy and use a lot of the same components between a lot of vehicles. That's why like doing a Titan swap is so easy. The engine mount is the same. All the suspension components are the same for the front. So that's why it's really easy. They did the same thing with the steering rack. So the steering rack is actually the same between the Nissan, Xterra, Pathfinder, Frontier, and the Titan.
Man, I wish they did that with Toyota.
So the only thing that I've done to the steering rack is I've added some half shafts on the outer ends that are Heim, just to beef that up a little bit. So the weak point is still the tie rods instead of the steering rack. But the steering rack can more than handle the 37s and the 38s.
Connor, thank you so much for being on the channel. Like I mentioned, and I think you have confirmed it, you do have the coolest Xterra in the world.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I think it's pretty sweet. I definitely put my heart and soul into it, and you know, it's my only vehicle, so my daily driver, and I don't drive it like it's my daily driver. I definitely beat the crap out of it, and use it for what I built it for. I do appreciate you thinking that it's pretty sweet, because I like to think it's pretty sweet, and I like to try and convince others that it's pretty sweet too. So I do appreciate that, especially you coming from a Toyota guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's truly a unicorn. But what you were saying at the beginning of the video is there's probably zero resources out there for people that have Xterras that want to make them more off-road capable.
Yeah.
So like I mentioned, he's a really cool guy. Go to conheck_offroad on Instagram. Shoot him a DM if you have any questions. He's, like I said, he's a really nice guy, and he'll take care of you.
Yeah. Yeah, the Nissan community, especially like since the overlanding industry has really blown up, especially through COVID, there's been a lot more out there for the Nissan guys. So I like to think I helped with that, but I don't know if that's necessarily true.
For sure you have, man.
But it's nice to see other Xterras out there. I try to, you know, encourage people to buy Nissans when they're looking for a vehicle. Like, you know, check out the Xterra, man. Like, it's a good rig. It'll never let you down. So I've been really happy with it. I think Nissan has something special with the Xterra, and I wish that they would bring it back. But I don't know if you've seen the recent reports. They are not looking too good. Nissan, a couple of their executives said they got like 18 months or something like that to make or break the company. So that's got
even Jeep's struggling right now too.
Everybody's really struggling. But I think if they brought something like this back to the U.S. market, I think that it might help the company. But hey, I don't work there, so
yeah, we'll tag Nissan in this and see if we can do anything.
Yeah.
But thanks again, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Make sure to subscribe to the channel and subscribe to is it just Conheck on YouTube as well?
It's Conheck Off-Road, just no underscore.
Okay.
Yep, same thing. Yep.
Yeah, he's got a cool video coming soon, so make sure to subscribe.
Yep, check that out. And yeah, thank you for having me on the channel.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.